name is Elizabeth Salami, the editor of The Light Bearer.
The Light Bearer of the Church is a channel of communication to the wider community.
We have been one paper that we sit down on the news and try, to analyze it, to show where, what it is tending towards.
The Light Bearer is an integral document of the church, very important document of the church that has a lot of benefits, brings in a lot of benefits to the church. In this literary age, in this age where more and more of our pastors and members are educated, the Light Bearer is a necessary tool that will enhance the life of the church.
It's about everything that happens around politics, the economy, corruption that is eating down the life of the country.
The story of the Light Bearer really goes back to 2001, September 7, the crisis that we had here in Jos that Friday. And looking at the very terrible situation that the church faced at that time, the stories that emanated from the various media channels, none appeared to have taken a balanced view of what the church was going through. And therefore, the stories were slanted, and there were others who delighted in taking stories that were against the church principally. In fact, there were others who said that the crisis was caused by the church, especially COCIN.
And so it became very necessary for us to have a paper that would voice out our feelings, our frustrations concerning the crisis.
And that newspaper would also bring about the enlightenment of both COCIN members and non-COCIN members as to the truth that was being circulated concerning the church and our state as at large. And therefore, the idea was birthed at that time that there needs to be a channel that gives an alternative but credible information concerning whatever Christians and whatever COCIN was going through.
All we needed to do was to get the people who were necessary, who knew the job, to get them employed.
And so one day in the year 2003, the director of personnel at that time, Reverend Ruan Zafi, came into my office. I was the public relations officer of COCIN, the first public relations officer of COCIN. And he dropped a letter from the Executive Council saying that I'm hereby directed to start a news magazine. That was the way they put it, for the church. And he turned back and went away. And so that galvanized me into action, and I had to start the process of praying through it, making some consultations, and gathering a team of people from both print and broadcast background, especially COCIN members who were professional journalists or worked in the media. And we put them all together and we started discussing, what do we do? How do we start? And everybody brought his own idea. And eventually we came to the point of what name should we have? And there were different suggestions, but eventually we settled on the light bearer because many years ago, as you know, that the SUM came into Plateau State in 1904. Therefore, what we decided was that we needed to look at the past. There used to be a publication called the Light Bearer, in which the missionaries carried information concerning all their activities, their people, where they were, what they were doing, and how the mission was going on. This was carried back home to give to their supporters back in England. And so we thought about this and we said we needed to link with the past, but we needed to be relevant in the present and for the future as well. And so we settled for the light bearer. Then we sought information from the mission partners, and they graciously gave us the go-ahead to use that masthead, the light bearer. And so we went on to do other things, create what you currently see as the light bearer. And that eventually, the first copy came on stream on the 15th of February, 2004. On that 15th day of February 2004, we actually launched the paper. We introduced it to the congregation, not at a very formal, strict ceremony, strictly for the paper, but we introduced it at Panyam. It was Panyam. We got the first copy of the paper to a GCC function in Panyam, and there was great excitement to have a COCIN paper just come on stream, and people were excited to see that. And I believe that it made an impact, and we said, you're the ones to fund it. Now, that's the way COCIN does. You take a vision, you break it down into the various objectives you have, and then see the strategies you will adopt to achieving your vision.
And then you got all the necessary things that was needed for a newspaper to come alive. We would have to pour money into it so as to make our feelings known regarding what was happening in the country then, and still, of course, what is happening in the country, to voice out our opinion, and also to strengthen the church and to let the voice of the church be heard by the public, and also to strengthen the unity of the church and the life of the church.
The paper has served to inform the church on happenings and developments within the church. It has also served as a tool for evangelism, reaching out to the unreached. And those are no small achievements.
I've been an avid reader of the Light Bearer, and what stood out in the Light Bearer was the informative and educative articles, and also being the voice of the church, especially in northern Nigeria.
I took over from Iljab Abraham. The first thing that came to my mind is, apart from seeking the help of God and insight on how to go about things, I knew that we can't have staff in Light Bearer that don't have light in their lives.
The team was something like 8-10 people or less. Yeah, it was a very small team, but it was very impactful, and they worked very, very hard.
Presently, we have about 10 permanent staff. And then in all the COCIN RCCs, which at that time when we started was like 85, we had correspondents in all those RCCs.
When I came in, the Light Bearer was a print media in hard form and limited in its circulation. to churches within Nigeria, and most particularly within Plateau. But as we reviewed the situation, we felt it was necessary to go online and expand the coverage of the newspaper. And that was successfully done. We had readers from all over the world.
We did have some troubled waters.
There was no fun on ground, and it meant walking out and going to the leaders and to show them what we wanted to do and the need for money. And so it was tough. But at that time, some of the leaders, especially the top leaders, were very cooperative.
And then we started having sister churches like the Catholic Church and the Baptists and others, showing interest, because we were actually reporting not just for COCIN, but anything that affects the church, in Nigeria. And that, for me was a very huge, success. But then it didn't go without a price too. Less than 1 year, when we were just almost 1 year, just I think a month to 1 year, this same deputy editor, and then Nathan Shelef Dabak, and then one of our reporter, Mr. Sunday Bode Gyang, went on an official assignment in the Nasarawa area of Jos, and they were hacked down by Islamic jihadists. You know how it was then in Jos. If there is crisis in one area, you dare not go, to areas that are dominated, with Muslims. And there was kind of a small crisis then that morning, but they didn't know. It was a Saturday morning, and they didn't even hear about it. And so when they had to pass through that Nasarawa area, they were caught up, or they got caught up by these Islamic jihadists who hacked them down and murdered them. It was actually very painful for us, and it was a big blow, for us, because we were making great moves as a team, and then losing a deputy editor and losing a reporter at the same time. It was too much a price for us to pay.
I'd like to appreciate the current team that is handling the light bearer. Some of them have been there almost from the beginning. The last recruitment we made, they have been there, but they have been able to sustain the paper to this point that we can look back and say the light bearer is 20 years.
And I wish that there was a lot of patronage by the public as well as the church members, so that it will boost this paper, so that it will not just be a once a month newspaper, but maybe twice a month, and then later on 3 times. Then gradually it becomes a daily newspaper.
Principally, the light bearer is to carry an alternative but credible view, which should be the truth of what is happening in COCIN, what is happening about COCIN, what is happening in society, and what is it that would promote the gospel of Jesus Christ, and what is it that would further give our professionals and other church members the courage and the confidence to engage in mission work, knowing that their story will be told in a very truthful manner.